cross your legs in the center of your shins. Feet beneath your knees. Shoulders over your hips. Start by simply being here, noticing your current moment experience without judgment, just taking stock. What do you feel in the physical body? What do you feel in the emotional body? Balance evenly on the sit bones. Lengthen the groins from the inner thighs through the inner knees, from the inner thighs back towards the abdomen as well. So that whole section from the lower abdomen to the inner knees are lengthening. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs down, drawn from the outer knees to the outer hips, compacting the outer hips together, creating a steady base. Keep the front bottom ribs moving towards the back body as you lengthen through the side ribs. Allow the shoulders to release down and away from the sides of your neck as you lengthen from the armpits to the inner elbows. The elbows draw down. Let gravity take hold of the elbows as you bring your hands together at your chest. Let your eyes rest into your cheekbones. Soften your facial features. And without seeking to change the breath, simply see where the breath is flowing. Is it flowing more in the front body than the back body? Or more in the back body than the front body? Is it filling up your left lung more than your right lung, or your right lung more than your left lung? Just noticing right now. And now begin to adjust it slightly so that first it fills up both lungs evenly. And I'm not asking you to force a breath. I'm not even asking you to take a deep breath. It may be deep, it may be shallow. That's not what we're going for right now. I'm just asking you to redirect slightly. Allow the breath to breathe you, but then redirect the breath slightly so that it fills both lungs evenly. And then redirect the breath slightly so that it continues to fill both lungs evenly and it touches the front and back bodies evenly. And then see that as it fills both lungs evenly, it touches the front body and the back body evenly, as well as the two side bodies, left and right. And again, you're not trying to force a deep breath. You're simply using the breath that is coming into you and directing it to touch the front, back, sides of your body evenly. And let's chant the syllable Om 3 times together. Exhaling completely. Now a deep inhalation, touching the front, back, sides of the body evenly. Om. Lifting your sternum, lower your chin towards your heart. Release your hands onto your thighs with your palms up. With your eyes closed, raise your head. From the back of your eyelids, gently let your eyes open. All right, so we will start off lying back. Have a strap nearby. And if you don't have a strap, of course, use a scarf or a belt or something similar. But just have it nearby for now. Straighten your legs on the floor. Interlock your thumbs overhead. We want to warm up the body. It's a little, for those who are here in Texas, it's a little cold for some of us, so we're going to warm up the body a little first as we open it up. So interlocking your thumbs together, extend your arms overhead. The thigh bones do press down, not the knees, the thighs. So for those that have knee issues, although everybody can do it, press the heels down first and then descend the thighs down. But don't get into the knees too much. Lengthen from the inner thigh through the inner heel, all the way through the inner leg, from the upper inner thighs also drawing back towards the abdomen, that releasing, that lengthening of the groins. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs and draw from the outer knees to the outer hips. Now keeping the front bottom ribs towards the back body, lengthen through the side ribs. Opening those armpits, extend armpit to elbow, elbow to wrist, right through the fingertips. Keep extending through the inner leg as you extend through the arms. Creating more space. And release and relax. Let your legs go, let your arms go. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your hips. And the hardest part of the pose, interlock your thumbs the opposite way. Feet together, heels together, toes point straight up at the ceiling. Press your heels down and then press the thighs down. The heels shouldn't feel like they come up even the teeniest amount. Lengthen through the inner legs. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. The inner thighs moves from the front of the leg towards the back of the leg. Draw from your outer knees to your outer hips, but keep the lengthening of the inner leg. And then extend it through the side ribs. Front bottom ribs move towards the back body. The abdomen descends towards the spine, moves underneath the bottom ribs. Then opening those armpits, extend armpit to elbow, elbow to wrist through the fingertips. Fingertips are a part of the pose. Just like we draw from the outer knees to the outer hips, draw from the outer elbows to the shoulders. And let go, release and relax. Take your arms up by your sides, let your legs go. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your hips. Bend both legs, take hold of your strap. Bend your right leg into your chest, put the strap around your foot where the heel meets the arch. And straighten your leg. No death grips. Again, we're not jamming the knee back, but the thigh bone, where it meets your hip, the thigh bone moves away from your head. The outer hip moves away from your shoulders. And lengthen the inner leg from the inner thigh, through the inner knee, through the inner ankle, extending to the ball of the big toe. Draw from the outer knee to the outer hip. And sit that right buttock down as you continue the extension of the inner leg. Soft hands, soft shoulders, soft face. And drag your left heel on the floor, straighten your left leg. And even though the legs point in different directions, they have a similar experience. The thighs pressing back, the lengthening of the inner legs, the lengthening of the groins and the inner legs, drawing from the outer knees to the outer hips. The front bottom ribs still move towards the back body. I'm going to open the hips, reach up high in the strap with your right hand now. Take your left hand, take it onto your thigh. Take it onto your left thigh and press the left thigh down, because as you take the right leg out to the side, the left side wants to lift up. So press that thigh down. If that's difficult for you, you can take your arm out to the side, but it's helpful to press the thigh down. Now take your right leg towards your face and out to the side. If you want to rest your upper arm on the floor, that's fine. Keep the thigh, the right thigh still presses back. The left thigh presses down. Lengthen through both inner legs. And draw from both outer knees to outer hips. The abdomen moves from the right to the left. That also will help keep that left thigh hip down. And then with a straight leg, inhale and come up. Hold both sides of the strap. Extend through the inner legs, outer knees to outer hips. Soften the shoulders. And then bend both legs. Other side, take your left leg into your chest, put the strap around your foot where the heel meets the arch, straighten your leg. Soft hands, soft shoulders, soft face. Press the thigh bone back. The outer hip also moves away from the shoulder. Lengthen from the inner thigh, through the inner knee, through the inner ankle, extending through the ball of the big toe. It's also a drawing back from the upper inner thigh towards the abdomen. Draw from the outer knee to the outer hip. Sit the left buttock down as you continue the lengthening of the inner leg. Soft hands, soft shoulders. Drag your right heel on the floor, straighten your right leg now, and begin to match the right leg to the left leg. So both thighs pressing back, lengthening the inner legs, drawing the outer knees to the outer hips. I should say from the outer knees to the outer hips. Front bottom ribs still moving towards the back body. Abdomen descending. And then reaching up high with your left hand. Now the right hand is on your right thigh. Left hand, the left hand is holding the strap. Take your left foot towards your face and then out to the side. So it's a diagonal line. If you want to rest your hand on the upper arm on the floor, that's fine. The other option is you begin to reach down. Eventually you're holding your big toe. You can reach down on the strap and have a straight arm too. But sometimes as we're doing this, especially if you're new to it, then it can be helpful to rest the upper arm. That's okay. It's another way to do it. Press the right thigh down. Press the left thigh back. Lengthen through both inner legs. Draw your outer knees to your outer hips. With a straight leg, inhale and come up. Hold both sides of the strap. And then take both legs in the strap. Urdhva Prasarita Tadasana, 90 degrees. So the thigh bones still press back. Again, careful for the knees. Your abdomen moves down towards the spine. The lower back irons onto the floor. Soften your hands and shoulders. Lengthen through the inner legs as you iron your abdomen down. And then release, bend your legs, release the strap. Now we're going to do it again. If you need the strap, if it's hard for you to straighten your legs towards the ceiling, then do this pose again using the strap. And if you don't need the strap, then that's fine too. You can interlock your thumbs together, extend your arms overhead, bend your legs into your chest, flex your toes, and then straighten your legs towards the ceiling. Abdomen down, lower back down. Keep the abdomen down, keep the lower back down. Extend through the arms and legs. And again, if you need a strap, then get a strap. Bend your legs into your chest for a moment. Take a breath. We're going to go back up. Extend through the arms. Abdomen down, lower back down. Straighten the legs. Keep the abdomen down and the lower back down. So this is 90 degrees. Take your legs towards 60 degrees now. Keep the abdomen down and the lower back down. Extend through the arms and legs. Abdomen down, lower back down. And then back up to 90. And back down to 60. Extend through the inner legs. And back up to 90. And bend your legs. Place your feet on the floor. Relax your arms for a moment. Take a few breaths here. You can gently aim the breath, ensuring that it touches the front, back, sides of your body evenly, filling both lungs evenly. One more time, interlock your thumbs the opposite way. Even I have to check, okay, this is the other way. Bend your legs into your chest, flex your toes, straighten your legs towards the ceiling, abdomen down, lower back down. Abdomen down, lower back down. Front bottom ribs towards the back body, 90 degrees, extend through the arms and legs. Now going down to 60 degrees. Keep the abdomen down the whole time as you go. Don't just readjust when you're there. Abdomen down the whole time. Extend through the legs. Now we're going to go down to 30 degrees. If your lower back begins to rise, that's as far as you go. Okay, so keep the lower back descending. Come down to 30 degrees if that's accessible, or maybe you're down to 45. That's okay, or maybe you stay at 60. Abdomen down, lower back down. Extend through the arms and legs. And then back up to 60 degrees. Abdomen down, lower back down, ribs in, back up to 90 degrees. Now you're going to take the legs down to the floor. When you keep straight legs down to the floor, but when your lower back comes up, then you just bend your legs. So from 90 down to 60, down to 30, abdomen down, lower back down. If your lower back comes up, that's when you bend your legs. So here, my lower back is coming up. I'm just bending my legs. And straighten your legs on the floor. Let your legs go. Let your arms out by your sides. Breathe into your shoulders. Breathe into your hips. So this is a great way to warm up the body if you're feeling cold. And one last time, extending the whole body. So feet together, heels together, toes together. Take your arms parallel to each other. So palms are facing each other, not interlocking the thumbs right now. The thighs press down, lengthen through the inner legs. Of course, the heels press down first, so you're not pressing your knees. Now keep your front bottom ribs towards the back body. Keep the side ribs moving down towards the floor. And then inhale, take your arms overhead. Keep those side ribs down, front ribs down. Lengthen through the inner legs, lengthen through the inner arms. And release and relax. Let your legs go, arms out by your sides. Breathe into your shoulders, breathe into your hips. And then bend your legs, roll to the side, and come on. Come up into Tadasana. Feet together. Thighs pressing back. Lengthening from the inner knees all the way up through the inner thighs, through the lower abdomen. Lift from your outer knees to your outer hips. Lift through the side ribs and extend through your arms. Shoulders down. Broaden from the center of the sternum over towards the outer elbows. Broaden from between the shoulder blades out through to the back of the shoulders. Did I say outer elbows? Outer shoulders. So from the chest to the outer shoulders, from the center of the back, or center of the top back, to the outer shoulders, so that you're opening up the front and back bodies at the same time. So that you're creating space for the front of your heart and the back of your heart at the same time. And what we're also doing is creating space for the front of the lungs and the back of the lungs at the same time. And you might notice that one side seems to open more. So the left side is opening more. So bring awareness to the right side so that opens as well. And since I haven't taught in this location in a while, I've been at the studio, I forgot to bring a clock here. So I'm going to keep you in Tadasana while I go and get a clock, but I don't want you to feel like you're in between poses. I want you to stay here in Tadasana, working the legs evenly, and then working the front and back bodies evenly. And I'll be right back. All right. And release. Go get yourself a chair, be any kind of chair. Take a lift. It can be the lift that you started class with. If you want a lower or a higher one, that's fine. And here's what we're going to do. We're going to have the chair in front of us. All right. I'll show from the side just so you can see a little bit better. It doesn't matter which way you're facing. You're going to cross your legs. Can't tell, is Tim here? If this is hard, if it's hard to sit like this, then you can have either straight legs or legs out to the side. Legs are out to the side. You want to be a little bit more forward in on the blankets. Okay. Otherwise, legs crossed. You might have to change the height of the chair. So maybe you need something higher or even higher, right? Get some pillows from the couch. Block seems too high for me. There we go. So a little fold there. And you're going to lift up, lengthen, fold your elbows, and either rest your head on your forearms or your forearms can be above and then you're resting it on your blanket. You can be on the chair itself. Well, that's kind of a hard chair to put your head on. So I'm going to stick with the blanket. So, you can spend a few minutes playing with that setup. We're not looking for the most intense forward bend in the world, but we're looking for an opening of the back body. So set that up, and then when you're in it, I'll give some further instructions. So I'll wait a minute or so for everybody to get there. Lengthen through the inner thighs. That's still there. So there's a lengthening from the lower abdomen to the inner knees to the lower abdomen. Descend the flesh of the inner thighs. Now I want you to picture between the shoulder blades that you're making a little hump there, right? I know, and normally we're talking about bring the shoulder blades in. So between the shoulder blades, I want you to imagine there's a hump there. There's a little bump. You're making a bump. And from that lift, from that lifting between the shoulder blades, the energy flows over the top of the back, over the back of the neck, over the back of the head, over the forehead, down towards the nose. So there's a continuous flow of energy there, making a little hump between your shoulder blades and then allowing the energy to flow from there over the top of the back of the neck, the back of the head, over the top of the head, and then down over the forehead towards the nose. Your facial features completely letting go, as if they are falling towards the floor, gravity just drawing them down. The lips, cheeks, everything getting closer to the floor. Notice if at any time you begin to tighten in the inner groins, release there. And let the skull completely rest. the back body opening. I should add there's a broadening in the top of the back. So from the center of the top of the back, there's a broadening, a widening. And then slowly come up, change the cross of your legs. If you chose to, if you had your legs straight, if you chose that version, maybe you want to go wide now. If you want wide, maybe you want to go straight, or you can just keep what you had. That's fine. And if your legs are crossing the opposite way, lift up, lean forward, cross your forearms the opposite way, and then rest your head, either on your forearms or on the chair or whatever blankets lift are on the chair. So sometimes, before you make the adjustments, you have to settle in here for a moment. Okay, this side feels very different for most of us. It feels different in my hips. It feels different in my back. It feels different in my feet. Everywhere feels different now. And all I did was cross my leg. It's the opposite way. So once you've settled in for a moment, then yes, lengthen, release the inner groins. Now make that hump between the shoulder blades and allow the energy to flow from that point over the top of the back of the neck, over the back of the head, over the forehead, over the top of the head, over the forehead, towards the nose. The skull itself releasing, the facial features all releasing. And then as the breath fills the lungs, focus on the back lungs and see that there's a broadening on the top of the back. Still that hump between the shoulder blades coming up, the energy flowing up over the back of the neck, the back of the head, down over the forehead. And then there's a widening of the top of the back. And then slowly coming up. All right, you can put the chair to the side. Now we're going, so that's open up the back and the back of the heart. Let's open up the front. So I want you to, we're going to set up a version of Setu Bandha. There are different versions you can take. You'll take a blanket, fold it so it's thin like this. And then I have a space here. There's a space for my head on the mat. And my shoulders will go on the blanket here. So I'm taking my shoulders on the blanket. My head is comfortably on the floor. I'm going to use the medium block today. But, if you're practiced in this and you can do a high block, it's your pose. Take a high block. That's fine. But you can lift up, take this block underneath your sacrum. So not at your lower back. It's not here. It's here. And then you can roll the shoulders under and straighten your legs. Now, if this bothers your lower back, then what you do is you take a couple blankets, or you can take additional blocks. You can take a couch cushion, a bunch of towels, pretty much anything. And you put some height. I don't like where I place those. You put some height under your heels. And that takes out some of the irritation on the lower back. So that's fine. And you can make that as high as you want. You can even take the lift on underneath your heels higher than the block if you need to. So your choice whether you want the medium block, or again, if you want the higher block, that's fine. But for some that'll be too intense, and I'm not looking for that intensity today. I'm looking for some peacefulness today. All right. If you have questions on how to set that up, certainly let me know. We'll be here for a few minutes. You can close your eyes here. You can rest your eyes into your cheekbone. Watch puffing the ribs too much towards the ceiling, but the ribs still draw into the body. Now, in general, it's taught with arms up or palms up, but over the years, I've begun to experiment with palms up and palms down. I do both. Sometimes I do palms up, sometimes I do palms down. So you can play with it and see which brings you more ease right now, palms up or palms down. And now I want you to begin to play with the breath just a little bit. I don't want you to force a deep breath. That's not what this is. But imagine that there are nostrils right by your navel, just below your navel, an inch to the left, an inch to the right. And then inhale through those nostrils right up into your armpits, and exhale through those nostrils. Inhale through those nostrils right up into your armpits. Exhale through those nostrils. So there's an opening of the heart, and the breath is beginning to fill the sides of the body. And I see some of you are bending your legs. That's fine. If you need to bend your legs, then bend your legs. You still get the open heart. You still get the open chest. I should say the open front of the heart. So you open the back. Now we're opening the front. The other thing, if your lower back aches press the thighs down as you take the tailbone towards the ceiling. So the thighs press down, but not just the thighs moving down. It's the combination. Actually, there are three things. The thighs moving down, the tailbone moving towards the ceiling, straight up. Not the pelvic tilt, but straight up. And the top of the buttocks moving towards your heels. So if you get those three actions, the thighs down, tailbone up, top of the buttocks towards your heels, that also begins to release that sensitivity of the lower back. And again, so palms up, palms down. For some, those cactus arms also work, you know, where your hands are closer to your ears with bent elbows. And that one's fine too. We'll be here for another minute or so. And then bend your legs, place your feet on the floor. And you want to come down nicely, kindly. So keep the block where it is. Lift your buttocks up just an inch and then come back down onto the block. And lift your buttocks up an inch and then come down onto the block. Then lift your buttocks up an inch, remove the block, come down from the top of your spine towards the base of your spine, sit bones towards the heels, and maybe you need to adjust that blanket that's under your head. And just take a couple moments here with the neutral back. And then roll to the side, come up. All right. We're going to set up for Suta Badakunasana. This will be our last pose before we move into the more traditional pranayama. So you want a few blankets. So you have one blanket. You're going to fold that up as such. If you have a bolster, you can use a bolster for this bottom part. And then a second blanket here like this. So make that a little straighter. The rounded sides on opposite sides of each other. Okay? And then you have a third blanket. And that's for your head. Now the height of this one depends on you. Sometimes I need it a little bit higher. So I might fold it, do a tri-fold, or even take two blankets. So for your head, you have to take what you need for you. You want your forehead to be higher than your chin. Now listen, I also want you to have support for your thighs. So they can be blocks. I have blocks here. You can use pillows. So here's what you're going to do if you want to see what we're doing. You come up towards the blankets, but have your fist between your body and the blankets, or your body in the bolster, okay? You don't want your back touching the bolster itself. You take your feet together, knees apart. Now I'm taking some support. So I have blocks here. We're going to use the blocks. If you want it a little bit more comfortable, you can use, if you have a lot of blankets, you take a couple more blankets, one under each one, rolled blankets. You can use, pillows from the couch, that's fine too. So whatever you have nearby. And then you lift up my back, rest your head on this pillow. Now look at what I'm doing with this blanket. I'm moving it to touch my shoulders. My forehead is above my chin. I'm lengthening the back of my neck as I rest the head down. My legs are even. I'm finding a comfortable place for my arms. Your choice. Yes, we often teach your palms up, but I've been experimenting with it. And sometimes palms down is nice. Sometimes the side of the hand is nice. I want you to play with those and decide where to put your arms today. It doesn't have to be the same way you did it yesterday. It doesn't have to be the same way the last teacher taught it to you. I'm not saying anybody's wrong. I'm saying there are different ways to do it. And we need to begin to check into our own bodies to see what's right today, and not just go to default habits. So if you have any questions about this setup, so you can look at me, this is how it's set up. If you have any questions of how to do it, unmute yourself, let me know, and I can look and I can help you set something up for yourself. If you have there are other ways to set this up. If you're practicing and have another favorite way to set this up, that's fine. You can set it up how you want it. But I do want your thighs supported. Don't set it up without your thighs supported today. Soften your face. Soften your jaw. Let your body begin to surrender. Eyes rest into your cheekbones. Tongue rests on your lower palate. Let gravity do the work. Now take your hands on the outside of your thighs, push your legs together, and straighten your legs one at a time. If any of your blocks or blankets are in your way where your legs were, then move them out of your way. And find a comfortable place for your arms. We're going to prepare for our pranayama practice. If the lift you have is uncomfortable, take a moment to make it more comfortable. If you're chilly at all, take a blanket on top of you or on top of your feet. Now, pranayama, prana means breath, or really cosmic life force. Really, it's a word we can't translate, but it's more than the breath, it's the cosmic life force. It's the energy of everything in the universe. And yama is often translated in control, so pranayama is the control of the breath. But I recommend thinking of it more not as controlling the breath, but dancing with your breath. It's a dance with the breath. So as we start off, I don't want you to control anything. Most of you have been with me before, and you've heard me use the phrase, allow the breath to breathe you. So that's how I want to start here, is allowing the breath to breathe you. You're doing nothing. It takes no effort to breathe because the breath is doing all the work. Some breaths will be longer, some will be shorter, some will be smooth, some will be stuttered. There are no good breaths and bad breaths here. There are just breaths. You are turning over control to the breath itself. Now begin to notice if one lung is being filled more than the other lung. Fill both lungs evenly, just like we were doing at the start of the class. Don't force a deeper breath. That is not what I'm saying. We're dancing with the breath. So continue to allow the breath to breathe you. The breath, the prana, the cosmic life force knows exactly how much to put in you right now. You're just going to dance with it and direct it so it fills both lungs evenly. And as you exhale, it empties both lungs evenly. So it's a gentle dance, nothing being forced, just a slight direction, filling the lungs evenly, emptying the lungs evenly. And now maintaining that, seeing that the breath touches the front, back, and sides of the body evenly. I'm not asking for it to push against the chest or to push against the back or to push against the side. Just gently touching the front, back, and sides of the body evenly. Gently dancing with the breath touching the front, back, and sides of the body evenly. And the exhalation is also even, finding an evenness on the inhalation and an evenness on the exhalation. Now, the next stage is to lengthen the exhalation. So, still allowing the breath to breathe you. The inhalation is whatever the breath chooses to put in you. However much air the breath chooses to put in you, that's what comes in. And then slow down the exhalation, simply making it longer. So it's not about more breath or less breath or the amount of breath at all. It's simply the length of time it takes for the breath to leave your body, for the prana to leave your body. So a regular inhalation, the breath breathes you. Yes, you are dancing with it to touch the front, back, sides of your body evenly, to fill your lungs evenly, and then allow the exhalation to become longer, lengthened. And then again, it will be a regular inhalation. Each inhalation will be different. So don't expect your next inhalation to be the same as the previous. So a regular inhalation, a lengthened exhalation. Now, the next stage is to match the length of the inhalation to the length of the exhalation. It doesn't mean take in more breath. The breath is still breathing you. You are just changing the length of time it takes. So now that the exhalation is lengthened, match the length of the inhalation to the length of the exhalation. Again, do not force a deep breath. It's a lengthened breath. It may be deep. I'm not saying don't take a deep breath. If that's what the breath is giving you, then great. But you don't have to force it to be deeper. So the length of the inhalation is equal to the length of the exhalation. So lengthened inhalation, lengthened exhalation. And especially for those who are new to pranayama, often we want to get going and it's like, okay, we're going to get into Ujjayi breath, which we are in a moment. But I highly recommend working with these breaths first. Your experience with Ujjayi will be much more powerful in my experience. And I didn't make this up. This is all straight from Light on Pranayama. This is how he teaches it. He being Mr. Iyengar. I highly recommend spending time learning to dance with the breath as opposed to completely controlling it. And these initial steps help teach that dance. Now we will move towards what would be considered a traditional reclined Ujjayi breath, the real Ujjayi breath. We're sitting. So we're doing a supported, a reclined Ujjayi breath. But I want you to listen. So don't do it yet. I'm going to go through the whole process. Now, I want you to remember as we go through this process that the amount of breath that goes in you should not be controlled by you. That's the breath breathing you. You are going to direct the breath in a particular fashion. So you'll take a mini inhalation and then you'll exhale that completely. That you are controlling. You'll exhale it completely. And then you'll imagine that there are nostrils right at the tops of your thighs, the groin area. And you'll inhale through that area, evenly on both sides as we've been working. You want to think of a widening. Don't just think of a lifting of the chest, but the bottom ribs will expand, then the middle ribs will expand, and then the top ribs will expand. Remember, we're looking for an equality on the front and back sides of the body as well. So I'm not saying just lift the chest and fill the chest, but see if you can have the breath dance on the front and back sides of the body equally. And think of more than a lifting of chest, think of the widening of the ribs. So again, bottom ribs, middle ribs, top ribs. And then as you exhale, you want to maintain as much expansion as you can as you exhale through the two sides evenly. At some point, it falls, right? So we create the expansion as we exhale, it maintains for a little bit, and then it does disappear, and that's to be expected, and that's fine. So again, you'll exhale completely, then on your inhalation, those lungs those nostrils at the tops of your thighs. Inhaling, expanding, thinking width, not height, bottom, middle, top ribs, and then exhaling. And then following the exhalation, just allow the breath to inhale you without any control. And that is one cycle of breath. Then we'll do some smooth breaths. So now we'll begin. Take a mini inhalation, exhale completely. Remember, it's going to be the pace of your breath. And now those lungs at the top, nostrils at the tops of your thighs, inhaling slowly and smoothly, lengthened inhalation. The bottom ribs expand, the mid ribs expand, the top ribs expand, maintaining that expansion, and then a lengthened exhalation. Following the exhalation, without any control, let the breath breathe you, let it go wherever it wants to go. And take 2 or 3 smooth breaths. That was round 1, then we'll do round 2. At your pace. Mini inhalation, exhale completely. Inhaling, tops of your thighs, widening at the bottom ribs, widening at the mid ribs, widening at the top ribs, and then allowing for a lengthened, smooth, peaceful exhalation. At the end of the exhalation, allow the breath to breathe you. Remember, in pranayama, less is more, so please don't force anything. Take 2, 3, just peaceful, smooth breaths, no control at all. No dancing at all, just let the breath breathe you. Ujjayi breath, round 3. Take a mini inhalation, exhale completely. Inhaling the tops of the thighs. The breath moves towards the bottom ribs, expand in the bottom ribs, expand in the side ribs, expand in the top ribs. The breath touching the front and back sides of the body, and allowing for an exhalation evenly on the 2 sides. Following the exhalation, don't force your inhalation. Allow the breath to breathe you when it is ready. And then return to smooth breaths. A pranayama practice normally ends with a flat Shavasana. If flat Shavasana is difficult for you, then you stay in this pose. Otherwise, bend your legs, roll to the right or side. You can roll to the left if you want. Remove the lift. Take a lift for your head, small lift for your head. And lie back in your traditional flat Shavasana. Now, often when we move into Shavasana after pranayama, because we have been dancing with the breath or controlling the breath, but I prefer dancing with the breath, we seek to continue the dance with the breath. Release the dance and let the breath breathe you. This is now time for observation. You did a lot of work here with the breath, a lot of dancing with the breath. Now trust that the prana, the cosmic life force, the cosmic energy, knows exactly what to do. Turn over your trust to the prana and let the prana, let the breath breathe you. You simply witness and observe as you surrender to the breath, to the prana. Shavasana. To begin slowly coming out of your Shavasana, take a soft, smooth, peaceful inhalation and a longer, smooth, peaceful exhalation. Wiggle your toes, wiggle your nose. Bend your legs, place your feet on the floor with your knees together, feet apart. Take your hands onto your abdomen or onto your chest. When you feel ready, pick a side, right or left. Extend your arm past your ear, roll to that side. Rest your ear into your upper arm. Whenever you feel ready, turn your torso towards the floor and push to come up. Come up chest first, head last. No fast movements after a pranayama practice. Come up, have a seat, bring your palms together, thumbs at your chest. Take a moment to observe your practice. Remember to take your yoga practice with you throughout the rest of your day with kindness and compassion. Kindness and compassion for others, and most importantly, kindness and compassion for yourself. And let's close our practice together by chanting one collective Om. Deep inhalation. Gently let your eyelids open. Big smile. Namaste. Bow to the divine within you.